I've always got wee bits and pieces of models left over. It's like when I'm fixing laptops or anything, I've always screws and all left over. I always say to myself, not to worry. Okay. Things like that make great bottoms for tanks or bases. Never told about your old library cards and stuff. These here I use for tree bases that are going to be singles. Bloody cotton wools all over these trees, makes it look like curves. But they give a good heavy base to the tree, so it's very hard to knock them over. Very handy. Another thing I tend to use 2-piece, 1-piece, and things like this. These are quite handy for wargaming. I have a few of these here. Try and get some better light. Ooh, what's happening here? It's falling over. So you can put them onto a CD. Use a bit of plaster, or no more nails or filler. I use cheap gulp. Repair filler. It's very cheap. I think it's about $1.50 or something. And I would put that all over, create the base, stick the trees down on it. Now, there's no point in using the 2-piece and 1-piece or washers for that, because that's going to be heavy once you base it all and paint it all up, spray it. I'm going to make another one of these. I think they're quite handy for wargaming, especially World War II and Warhammer and stuff. It's a good idea to try and group your trees of a similar kind. Even though they're not a similar kind. It's a Christmas tree I got with a Christmas tree box. What I'll do is I'll whiten up the other trees, also these ones. Actually, I'll use that in this one. Use that in that. But keep the trees uniform by throwing a bit of white hot splotch or repair paste all around these two. I'm going to put them on the CD tray. Now I have to find the CD tray. It's now becoming a tree line. I've got a couple of things out here to paint up. I'm not going to bore you about it and you watch me do it. But I'm going to leave them orange and then hit up the tips and around the edges with the red and then yellow at the bottom. Give it some flame look. I'm going to do that autumn colours for the end of World War II, 1944, and paint these up. These British 6-pounder. I think a 6-pounder. I haven't got probably get this wrong, but hey, somebody can correct me. I think a 6-pounder is equivalent to the American 57mm. Oh. to use No More Nails more than this stuff, to be honest with you. No More Nails is a lot more sturdier, solid when it dries. But if the surface that you're putting it on, like cardboard or bits of thin wood, it can pull it up, make it bow, because it's that strong. It's like glue, you know. So this stuff here is a lot more, it's less chance of actually pulling up. Now there's a hole in the center, which isn't going to really help. So I'm going to cover that hole over. My solid tape as well. It's really masking tape, but it's old as the hills. Yeah, I'm not going to get much out of it. Yep, that'll get bitten. But I would just glue a 2p, give it a bit of weight. There you go, it covers the hole. Just think I should have glued down the trees first. That's what I'm going to do. Make some space and glue down the trees. You'd use a far better glue, you know, far stronger glue. Where is my Gorilla Glue? Bought a new one and it's done a walker. Made it this far. But I'll tell you, I feel a lot better. Not dibbling or having a drop at the weekends. I might just do February again, see how long I go. As you get older, it's the best thing in the world for you to definitely limit your intake of all that stuff. Okay. Should we wait for that gun to heat up? You can fit 4 trees on to them there, but I'm thinking get a few more bases, you know, make 2 sets. Plus that means you can get whatever models you're using. If you're using 15, 20mm, 28mm, you can fit them into the forest. Let's take an oil here. You think it's not warm and then you touch it and then you burn your hand to yourself. That happened to me when I was working servicing printers. There's a thing called a fuser that's in the printer, and I touched it just to see if it was cool enough to take out. First degree burns all over my palm of my hand. Back in the old days, you just sort of went, oh well, terrible mistake. There was none of this running to the medic or filling in an accident report. You didn't even know what an accident report was back then. Whoa, it's falling over. I ran that quick. This big tree doesn't want to stick. That stick glue dried already. God's sake, before it even stuck to the. I suppose the. Just thinking actually, the CD is very smooth. It's very hard for something like that to stick to the bottom of the CD. Just think 100,000 years from now, whenever people are searching for the copper, the silver, they're going to be finding these silly looking CDs and trees. Going, why did people put money in them? Must be me presents. That's one thing I hate about that glue. When it spreads out, and when you pull it away, it pulls away like it's a hair. What I tend to do is give it a wee bit of sand all around it. Give it a bit of texture. Some branches. You can push the stones down into the gulp. Make sure it takes. It's was probably better off putting the flock on after you've done them, or before you put the trees on. But I find that after you spray it all up anyway, well, prime with the base. Also has a nice texture anyway. Okay, we'll do them later. I wanted to get some painting done. Tendency to forget to turn this glue gun off. Absolute nightmare at times. Okay, I'll let that dry overnight. Hit the base with a primer, and then even though I've put a bit of flock on it anyway, it gives it a bit of texture when it primered up, and then I'll put more flock on it and a bit more paint, a bit of brown and greens. And here we have the CD case. Just to add a few more bits of flock. And that'll be it finished, ready for the battlefield.